Catherine and Brian from Moonstarlodge in South Central South Central Ontario. It's still kind of smoky, and we're back with the next installment of this series of cards we used last week. So we're dealing with the time period of July 27th to August 2nd. And in this time period, we have the full moon of She Who Heals. So there will be a separate video about that. There's also Lammas on August 1st, 2nd. In Western worlds, that's our midsummer point. It's exactly halfway. In ancient Celtic, Druidic, pagan traditions, that's actually the early fall, beginning of harvest. So, I mean, we're still harvesting here too at that time, but it's just the way that their wheel of the year, for them, what we call summer solstice, for them is midsummer night's dream. That's already happened because summer is May 1st in the ancient traditions. So we're half a cycle of a season different. But Lammas or Lugnasad, I'm probably saying that word wrong, happens the latter 2 days of this week's reading. So with that stumbled introduction, let's just go to the cards. We have more swords in this deck, or this reading, but Spirit was adamant that the cards I would normally use for the ancestors were the main deck this week, or are the main deck. So this is a Marseille deck of skeletons. And we have the Knight of Cups is our significator. Wow, that's a change. He appears from another deck later on, so that's quite interesting. Anyway, the Knight of Cups, facing forward, he's bringing his passion and his lovingness and his brightness. It's an emotional brightness. He uses his sword to cut out the darkness, and we had a lot of darkness in last week's emotional darkness in last week's reading, and consequently the knight is here to make sure, I guess, as an archetype, that doesn't happen again. And it's clarified in the ancestor position by the Eight of Wands. So it's powerful movement forward. This is beyond assertive and almost aggressive, fast change. It's change in the spiritual domain. It's the passion for life. It's the creative self. It's the fire in the belly. So while cups are water, the fire is here. And together, that actually makes a very good connection, because it's a balanced connection to have progress with emotional clarity and maturity and a love of what's coming. No fear here in this reading so far. However, there is self-entrapment. This is the Eight of Swords, and that's putting the brakes on, being fearful. And the Spirit is saying that this emanates actually from a place of guilt. Sometimes when good things appear to be coming, guilt is the thing, our feeling of a lack of worthiness to receive. This person is sitting with 8 sheaves of something. This is asphodel, the plant, sitting around them, caged, much like the cage is usually shown for the Eight of Swords. So we have to let go of guilt. Guilt, whether we're guilty that we're receiving something that others aren't, or a sense of imposter syndrome or lack of worthiness, that's going to put a halt on things, and we can't let that happen. What we have to do is jump to the place of, in this deck, it's La Papesa, the female pope, but it's the high priestess in other decks. So the power of the high priestess is to bring from above and as below. There is nothing hidden from the high priestess. She knows it all, and she knows all of the dark and all of the light. So in her powerful way, she is going to help us banish, if we take on her attributes and her insight and her knowledge. She holds the key, and the pillars are here. She holds the key, and she's clarified by the emperor. So we've got the balance of structure and order, law and order, the idea here of a balance between the emotional and the physical and the mental and the spiritual. So we've got the players in spirit. We just have to lift up our head and look into the light and connect with source. It looks like it's a waffling week because here's the 9 again. Excuse me. The 9 of Swords in this position is like last week's reading, dark night of the soul. And once again, here's this Knight of Moons in this deck is the Knight of Cups saying, wait, no, emotional balance. This is all emotional balance. Let's cut away old stuff, shadow stuff, garbage stuff that's stopping us from seeing individually and collectively the good that's coming. These are worry cards. These are what if. What if it doesn't go right? What if I screw up? That's the kind of stuff that we're dealing with again this week. But we have the sun, and it's, often called the most beautiful card in the deck. The light wins. And this is the sunlight, but this is the creator sending a bolt of lightning into an established tower. In the old days, this was called the house of God. And when the creator doesn't like what the house of God has become, whether it's rigid, whether it's full of misappropriation of souls, whether it's full of greed and materialism, in an instant, whatever was wrong with the structure that we've had around us, perhaps it's the fear, perhaps it's the circle of guilt in this case, in a heartbeat, in an instant, that changes. The light enters differently. This is a soft, beautiful, welcoming light. This is still light. This is a powerful light, this lightning bolt. So what comes of it when this all happens as we hit the end of the week and Lamas is the 4 of Wands, and that can mean a wedding, a party, the end of a journey that starts with the decision to go, what the idea is with the Ace of Wands, and the choices of how to proceed with the journey is the 2, and the being well established in the journey, seeing land, so to speak, is the 3, and here's the successful arrival. It's the marriage of our soul with what we've chosen to do. It's success. And it's interestingly clarified by the card Adventure. That's the Eiffel Tower. And I can't exactly see what's at her feet here. It's a butterfly. She's flying on a butterfly. Butterfly showed up last week with the runic card. So if we can get through this headspace crap, we are on our way. It's success. And what we get at the end of it all is the Ace of Swords. So a new intellectual clarity, a new beginning, incubating, a new process. And we need to think things through, of course. Whenever we're going to make a new endeavor, we want to think it through, come at it with passion from a place of emotional balance, right? So, and make it material in the earth plane. That's kind of a realistic order of doing things. So the Ace of Swords here is our dynamic gift from Source. And the card that clarifies it is from the Seasons of the Witch deck, and it's Harvest Basket. It's time to gather the fruits of your hard work and dedication. All right, Brian. It is hard work to let go of thought processes that are old and stale and don't serve us. It's shadow work. There's no getting around it. A lot of people emphasize shadow work around Halloween, but it's all the time. We have to address our bugaboos. Anyway, so we're now into August. It's my favorite month, and I'm hoping to take a little time with Brian, just a couple, maybe a couple weeks of just appreciating our life and healing. Anyway, we thank you for your support. We thank you for all the coffees you send us through the coffee platform and the actual coffee that arrives at the door. Yes, Heather, that was quite wild stuff you sent. We appreciate the comments. I appreciate the opportunity to help people on their spiritual journeys. So, miigwech, aho. Oh, and the old guy says, thanks too. Peace.